Hello, my name is John Wubbenhorst. I want to take a few minutes today to talk to you about the upcoming workshop, Indian Music Concepts for the Western Musician. I'm sure you have been influenced to some degree, like everyone has, by Indian music, whether it's by hearing the Beatles or John Coltrane or John McLaughlin or any number of other pieces of music that have direct or indirect influence of Indian music. You may have been fascinated by this whole era of music. Maybe you've seen some classical Indian music concerts of sitar and tabla, or South Indian music with violin and mridangam, and you've wondered more about how this music really works. I know when I first heard this music, I was blown away at how these guys could seemingly improvise for hours and hours with very interesting, incredibly, it seemed, adept ability to play profound music, and for very long periods of time. I was somewhat intimidated by it because it didn't seem to me humanly possible how you could do this. But of course, as I started to learn, I realized that there's a certain way that these musicians practiced. There's a certain patterns, there's a certain system that they learned, and that's how they could play this way. Just like in jazz, if you want to play giant steps, you're going to have to learn a few things about chords and chord scale relationships, etc. And if you want to play almost any type of music, you have to, of course, learn about that music and practice in a certain way. So what we've done in this course is we've designed a course to help people go deeper into this music, deeper into how it works. For instance, what is a raga? We've all heard that word perhaps, but what really is a raga? Is it a scale or a mode or a key? Well, actually it involves a lot of those things, but it's more than just that. We'll be going into what makes a raga and what is not a raga. What's the ascending and descending scales, the main phrases of a raga, and begin to understand how to even approach learning a raga. We're going to talk about talas, because of course in Indian music there is no harmony. There's just rhythm and there's the melody. Melodic forms are the ragas, and the talas is the different rhythmic cycles and rhythmic variations or rhythmic compositions that take place within these cycles. So we'll learn about different time cycles of 16 beats, 9 beats, 7 beats, 8.5 beats, 5 1/4 beats. We'll learn about different rhythmic compositions, whether it be in the north, titikatagadiginada, or south, dadigenatom. And we'll start to learn how to, we'll actually spend time in class clapping out these rhythms. In the same way, we'll also spend time in the class singing some of the ragas. And basically, of course, we can only do so much in one workshop, but what we hope to do is give you an overview about how to even approach this music, how to approach learning it, and how you could also take some of these concepts and incorporate them into whatever music you're playing. Because what I have found in my life is that the more I study Indian music, the more naturally it helps when I'm playing Western music. Because when I do play with my group, for instance, facing east, we use bass, we use keyboards, we use guitar. So we are using chords, and we are using instruments not commonly found in Indian music. So what I've done is taken some ideas from Indian music on how you can adapt them to a more Western situation. And what we'll also be doing in this class is expanding perhaps your appreciation of Indian music. Because when you say the word Indian music, it's kind of like saying the word jazz. Well, there's lots of types of jazz. There's New Orleans jazz, there's modern jazz, there's abstract jazz, there's smooth jazz. And same in Indian music. There's South Indian music, known as Carnatic music. There's North Indian music, known as Hindustani music. There's many different gharanas or schools within each North or South Indian music. There's ancient forms like Drupad, etc., etc. So we'll give you sort of an overview of different forms of Indian music at the same time. And along the way, we'll be sharing some really beautiful examples. And what people have found coming away from this class is that they have a much better grasp on how they can even approach Indian music. In other words, you may decide from the class that you want to go really much deeper into the rhythmic aspect of it, learning the rhythms. And this is something you can do even if you don't play a drum. Because of course in the Indian rhythms, there's a tradition of vocal percussion where you can say the phrases da di ge na tom, titikata ga di ge na da, etc., etc. So you can learn how to vocalize even if you do not play a drum. And the same with the ragas, whether or not you can play an Indian instrument like sitar or bansuri, you can learn how to sing these ragas. You can learn about the different intervals, and you can learn a lot about how to approach this whole area of raga. So what we found is that people really enjoy this class a lot, and I think you will too, and it has a way to really expand your music abilities in Western music. Because the truth is, if you really want to learn West Indian classical music, you have to get a guru and spend a lot of time and do a lot of practice. And many people may or may not be able to do that, but would still like to grasp something of this tradition. And of course, if you would like to go further into learning classical Indian music, there's some understandings you should have about how to approach it. So we'll be talking about that also. I've been very fortunate to meet and spend time with a lot of great Indian musicians. My guru, Hari Prasad Chaurasia, I've been spending time with him for the last 20 years. I've learned some South Indian music, various different North Indian music teachers. I've hung around with some wonderful percussionists, tabla players, and South Indian. So I really feel blessed to have spent time with these people, and what they've passed on to me is really an invaluable amount of knowledge. So I'm really looking forward to sharing some of that knowledge with you. See you soon.